I swear to God, I promise you, I did not wear this shirt on purpose. This is a complete coincidence. I swear to you, I promise that it is. But if you didn't know, over the last 24 hours, some not so Gucci things have happened in regards to Call of Duty Warzone. And you'll see what I mean in a second when we dive into it. And I actually had this video planned well before this actually happened. But over the last 2 years, and specifically over the last little while, I have kind of seen this trend of a downward spiral in regards to Call of Duty Warzone. And I think there are some very, very easy ways to fix it, and they are not doing them. They are not doing them whatsoever. And not just in recent times. For the longevity of the game, I think there's some really interesting things that they could do that would quite literally save Warzone. And I wanted to get them down in a video so you guys could see exactly what they could potentially do and what I think they should do moving forward. But first, let's get into the drama. So if you didn't hear, yesterday we have Raven Software tweeting this: "While we draw closer to Black Ops 6 and make preparations for the future of Warzone, we will be consolidating the current playlist selections starting today into the following: Battle Royale solos and quads, and Resurgence duos and quads." Why? I have no idea. So if you want to play duos or trios in Battle Royale, nope. If you want to play Resurgence solos or trios, nope. Why? I have no idea. In my mind, the way that this should work and should have always worked is there should always be a solos, duos, trios, and quads for Battle Royale, for Big Map, and there should always be a solo, duos, trios, and quads for Resurgence. Now, why they don't is they also have these modes like Plunder, Boot Camp, limited time modes, things along those lines. Those are fine. Those, they can have those, but those are like kind of in addition to what is already there. And I don't know why they go and remove these. Is the answer that they do not have enough players to fill these modes? And that I don't think is possible that that is the answer. I really do not think that is possible. But hey, maybe, just maybe it is, and that is why they keep removing these modes. But regardless to say, I think that is a very big problem. And then on top of this, we have the rotating maps and Resurgence and just a bunch of confusion on that front. This needs to be fixed, and the question is why are they doing this? Is this so that the playlists are messed up so more people will be focused on the launch of Black Ops 6 as opposed to just going back and playing Warzone? I don't know, but as a whole, it is a very, very odd strategy. So let me look at this from a different angle. Why is this happening, and what should actually be happening moving forward? So I think if we go back and really look at the beginning of Warzone, back on Verdansk 4 years ago, the game was vastly different. We didn't have any of these small maps. We didn't have Resurgence. We had a battle royale. And when you really looked at it, Warzone was kind of late to the party. We had PlayerUnknown's Battleground. We had Fortnite. We had various other games that were all battle royales. And then even before this, Blackout was a thing that Call of Duty had. But when Warzone came around, it changed something. Well, not to mention that it hit at a time when everyone was stuck at home and really the only means of socializing people actually had was this game in and of itself. They really hit a gold mine and struck gold while the iron was hot. That is definitely not how the saying goes, but I think you get what I am saying. But on top of this, I believe that Warzone had one thing that was different than any other battle royale, and that is simple. It is the loadout system. The loadout is one thing that separated Warzone from any other battle royale, and because of this, it made looting less of a kind of ideal and instead made it so you had to get money to get your loadout and then have your best possible meta weapons. This is something that remains the same up until this day, even with all of the changes that have happened. Speaking of which, let's actually dive into the beginning of the downfall of Warzone, because I think it started in one specific area, and that would be when the Caldera was introduced. Now, I'm gonna probably disagree with a lot of people here, but I think there's many reasons why this map just wasn't as good as Verdansk. Number one was the overall design of it. You had a raised middle of the map with kind of the volcano area, and then the entire rest of the map was lower than that area. So it kind of looked like a pylon that we were fighting on top of, and I just personally don't like that map design. But I think another thing that is overlooked quite frequently was the lore of this map. Instead of having a background of the map like we had with Verdansk, where we had Verdansk 84 and the story that went along with that, and how that transitioned into 2019 and the kind of Zakhaev story and the Captain Price story that we had on that map. There was lore, there was background, there was a story going on that map. And then in the Caldera, we had King Kong versus Godzilla. And ever since that happened, Warzone has had really no story whatsoever. The only time that actually changed up a bit is when they put some story in regards to DMZ with Warzone 2.0. And oh, don't worry, we will get to that. But I think this was a huge mistake that the Caldera had, was just a lack of continuity, a lack of story, and just a little bit worse of a map design. Then we have Warzone 2.0. Now, as far as this one goes, as soon as Warzone 2.0 came out, people were immediately worried about it. They slowed the gameplay down. The backpack system just wasn't as good. They removed floating loot. There was a bunch of problems with it. And really, I think the main problem was Infinity Ward got their hands all over the game again and thought they knew what was better for the community, after Raven had quite literally worked for years to improve the game. And then just everything that Raven improved, Infinity Ward got rid of and set the game back a whole year. That is really what happened with Warzone 2.0. There was also other problems with AI being in every building that you would go on a Mazra. There was just a bunch of issues. Was there certain things that made the game better? Maybe a little bit, but really not much as a whole. And because of Warzone 2, I think Warzone just got set back an entire year in and of itself, which is a bad thing and something that cannot happen with an ever-evolving live service model that is Warzone. Now, because of this is also, I believe, when the game got pushed in a different direction. After Fortune's Keep got released during the Caldera, and as kind of things pushed more and more away from the slower gameplay forced by Warzone 2.0, Resurgence became more and more of a thing. Generally speaking, a similar gameplay loop to Big Map, but as a whole, a little bit faster paced, and that is how Warzone got pushed moving forward. And then this year we have Urzikstan, and I think the biggest problem that we have with Battle Royale at this point within Warzone is, honestly, it has just become pretty stale. Over and over again, the game has more or less stayed the same, and simply, I believe that is because a lack of refreshes, and really also a lack of innovation. And really what I mean by that is that over and over again, and because of Warzone 2.0, Warzone had to reinvent itself in the means of just basic gameplay elements and wasn't able to actually improve over the entire gameplay experience. Now we have Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3 weapons all in Warzone, and then next year, once Black Ops 6 is implemented, we're also going to have those weapons in there as well. So all of the weapons that we've had over the past years are still in this game, and that makes the game feel less fresh, less resets, if you will. And because of this, I think people just get bored of it because it's the same thing over and over again. Now, I also see the other side of things where people don't want them to remove their skins, don't want them to remove weapons, because then their blueprints are useless that they paid money for over the last years. I do see both sides of it. And someone on my stream the other day actually kind of gave me a good idea. What if they implemented a vault mechanic where in the normal modes that are Battle Royale and Resurgence, weapons get vaulted from this mode and are no longer usable. You can still use them all in limited time modes, but they are vaulted out of the normal rotation of the game, and that way when a new Call of Duty game comes out, these new weapons are the ones that are being used, and it's kind of a refresh to the game. But quite honestly, I don't think that is enough. I think we need something new, exciting, changing, and let me explain to you exactly what I mean. So this is how I believe that they should save Warzone. This is what I think should happen over the next 2 years, and some of it is already happening. With the launch of Black Ops 6, we are getting a brand new map known as Area 99. This is a Resurgence map, and a very small one at that. I believe that this map and Rebirth Island are probably going to be the two main Resurgence maps coming throughout this time of Black Ops 6, but as we know, that is not the only thing that is happening. The next thing that is happening is in the spring. I believe it is going to be at the 5th anniversary of Warzone. Verdansk is making a return, and I think this is going to be very big for the game. However, even when this map comes out, I truly believe that people are going to start to realize that more or less Warzone has been the same game for 5 years, and people will still start to get bored of it. I think they will enjoy the map more, of course being Verdansk, but as a whole, I think that once after we have that huge popularity spike, things will start to slow down. And this is the problem that I see with Warzone. There needs to be a reset, there needs to be change. And honestly, one of the biggest problems I think we had with Verdansk back in the day was the lack of change. They left the map the same for so long without adding POIs or making big changes, all the while we had a game like Fortnite who would constantly change the map, refresh things, have new seasons, and with those big changes would happen to the map as a whole. And with that, Verdansk didn't get changed enough and kind of just got put to the wayside. So after Verdansk launches, here is what I think should happen. In the next year, in other words, once that next game launches in 2025, which is rumored to be a Black Ops 2 sequel, in the middle of playing Warzone, let's say a month after the launch of that next game, everyone is playing Warzone. Everyone is in the middle of the game. And all of a sudden, without warning, without trailers, without teasers, the game just shuts down. It goes to black and no one can play anything. The game's not off. The game is still launched and it is there. And in the background, we see a logo, just a small logo slowly appearing in the background, but it's not quite visible. But what it looks like is not the name Warzone, but the name Blackout. A way of refreshing the Warzone name without keeping Warzone 2, Warzone 3, or anything in between. We've seen Blackout before, and yes, probably most of the gameplay mechanics would stay the same from Warzone, but it would be a way of refreshing the game, vaulting old weapons, and starting anew while keeping the same gameplay elements of Warzone. And on top of that, they could implement a brand new map, which, as we know, Treyarch is already making one with the codename Avalon, and putting that with a bunch of different Treyarch POIs around the map. It is rumored what was going to be happening this year was not Verdansk, but rather Avalon. And with a brand new name, a brand new title, a brand new refresh, Blackout could be made anew. And maybe year after year they switch between Warzone and Blackout. I don't know the best way to do that, but I truly believe that Warzone needs a reset, the great reset, if you will. And it's just the question of how they do it without making too many people mad that their old blueprints, operators, and things like that would be removed from the game. And hey, maybe I'm completely wrong and I'm completely out of touch here. You can let me know down in the comments. But hey, those are my thoughts for now. Let me know what you think of that. And until next time, peace.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're made